business. In the House, the former governor.
Hold on.
Shall we pause? Here's.
Yes, we must.
Go ahead.
This hour of the Gallo Show is presented by Pine Grove Behavioral Health and Addiction Services in Hattiesburg, Mississippi.
Good people.
I know. It's 1-888-574-HOPE, which is 4673. Visit pinegrovetreatment.com. And now
we pass over there quite speedily, but these people are changing lives.
Every day.
Yeah. Former governor of the state in the House, Phil Bryant. Morning, sir.
Good morning, Paul.
Now a verifiable farm boy, just doing work.
Absolutely. I was out all day yesterday. I had about 60 pine trees go down, and we were picking them back up and trying to stake them out and put dirt around the bottom of them. And let me tell you, that's a long, long afternoon. But
what were your top
do
winds?
I have to listen to both of y'all do this now?
Yeah.
What were the top winds at the farm?
I would say probably 70, 75 miles an hour. Oh, yeah. It came right through Copiah County and the Barlow community and the Allen community where I live. So we lost, at least we lost a couple of big trees. I was out helping my neighbor cut one up. I think I burnt that poulan up, that chainsaw of mine, helping him cut his tree up Sunday afternoon. His ox was in the ditch, as my dad used to say, on Sunday afternoons. We had to cut it up. We'll have plenty of firewood, and then yesterday all day trying to save my pines.
Turn our attention to this one because when you look at what's going to happen in less than 3 weeks in the state of Mississippi, it's we've never been faced with something like this that could have this kind of changes in our state and the ramification and the consequences. And I hate to say it because we have a tremendous audience across the state.
Yeah.
But we got to have people in this audience share it with other people because I think this thing is going to pass, but the problems are just beginning if it does from how it's going to be implemented and what the consequences are. But and by the way, every time we mention this and have a program on to try to shed some light on it, you get things like, Gallo, you're on the take.
Heartless.
You got people, you're heartless.
Yeah.
You're making money off it. And no. I'm to a point in my life, as you are, as a boomer, we are, the only thing we're worried about is our kids and our grandkids.
That's exactly right.
So
More our
thoughts?
Grandchildren than our kids. But, Paul, you're absolutely right. First off, I don't have anyone that I'm professionally associated with on this matter. I didn't have to be. There's no one offering me money, hadn't taken any money, won't take any money. But, look, 65, and this is going to be a vote that people will be confused about because, look, we're all for helping people that are in pain. If you've got systemic pain, we are trying our best to help you. When I was governor, Senator Josh Harkins offered a bill that would allow for, listen to this now, would allow for medical marijuana use after human trials, after it was tested, after it was reviewed by the FDA. Could there be a derivative within that THC that could help people that are having pain, that could help children that are having maybe with epilepsy? And so we started at the University Medical Center several years ago, 5 to 6 years ago, and I just recently saw the governor, Governor Reese, sign another bill that would widen that human trials, as I would appreciate it, that would offer more opportunity for the use of that. But it's being done in the proper manner, Paul. I just realized that as I look at the pharmaceutical industry, every time a pharmaceutical comes on, and the president's talked about any of that might help with the COVID crisis that we have, the COVID-19 crisis, he's being slowed down by FDA and maybe CDC and others that say there is a method, there is a way that we go about before we just pick something and say, why don't everybody go out and take this and let's see how it works. And so I think the proponents of 65, the medical marijuana referendum, to add it to the Constitution of the state of Mississippi, they are leaning on people who are suffering and saying this is going to be the answer to your pain, and we sympathize and empathize with that, but it just simply is not all factual. The facts of this is we're going to add the use of marijuana for some medical purposes to our Constitution. So you have to wonder, why are they doing that? Why not just pass a bill? Well, people say, well, the legislature just wouldn't take it up. Those mean old legislators don't care about that. Yes, they did. Senator Harkins has led this effort by large support by the Senate and the House. So this is a Trojan horse if there ever was one. This is about the Benjamins, as they say. It's about the money being made from marijuana.
Here's my question, though. Because realistically, with people like Joe Baumgart putting over $1 million of his personal money into this, and so many other ones, because you've got a lot of money backing this.
Very wealthy people behind this.
When you look at that, they want a return. I'm sure that they're not spending that kind of money because Aunt Mamie's got arthritis. They want a return on this one.
That's right.
Can you? And I'm just asking this question. Yep. Can you, as a businessman, expect the returns on medical marijuana? With even doctors in Mississippi writing certificates and cards, and I think most of the doctors in our state are going to be very judicious about this, and you're going to have to validate that you got one of these things and you need this. Because I just don't think the doctors are going to willy-nilly write these things out, not at least for the next few years.
And let's just telemedicine, and you might be able to go online and get a physician somewhere.
Even then, with the amount of people in our state, is that going to be enough of a customer base to get that money back? I guess what I'm saying is they're banking on this for sooner or later becoming recreational.
Oh, absolutely. This is opening the door, Paul. I don't think anybody could argue that. This is the way to recreational marijuana, just like they have in Colorado and some other states, particularly on the left side of America. But absolutely this is. But look, as I understand this, you can get up to 300 joints a month in purchases. Yep. So, if you look at the amount of marijuana that you'll be able to go get, whether it's smoking or vaping or gummies or whatever it may be. So this is going to be a large number of Mississippians that will, some rightfully so, maybe use this marijuana for medical purposes, but it's going to be so abusive. People will be able to say, well, look, I have this problem with me. I have a lot of issues with pain every time I go out and cut up a tree.
Yep.
So, I'm 65, so I wake up every morning with it. So I'm pretty sure I could go to a doctor and say, my back hurts, my knees hurt, I have all these aches and pains, and they could say, here's your certificate, you can go get you some marijuana. And just getting high is not a cure.
No, it certainly masked the pain, and I understand that. But I had one email this morning or Twitter, a person say, 65A is only if you're terminal, and I don't. That's incorrect. Number one, can we say anything as far as assured? Because the way that this is going to be established under 65A is yet to be put together. They did say that they will match any of the ailments that are on 65, but nothing's written in stone.
That's right.
Is that one of the problems that the legislature should have come up and maybe had these things put together?
I think they looked at it, but again, Paul, we've been working with the University Medical Center on this testing. Here's my question: if this was a panacea, if this works every time, and again, I'm sympathetic for people that have pain. My grandmother died of lung cancer, and I saw a great deal of pain suffering through there. My brother just had a kidney transplant. Look, we all live with the diseases and the pain. But if it was so wonderful, wouldn't the pharmaceutical companies have developed it already? If it was so great, marijuana's been around since, I don't know, the early 1900s, been in recreational and so-called medical use. But why wouldn't Pfizer say, if this works so well, we're going to go through the FDA process and human trials, and we're going to do the proper way about identifying the effects of this on people that might be using large quantities of it, and we're going to determine whether or not it's the right thing to do, because if it works so well, they would be using it. You would be able to go to your pharmacist, get a prescription, and go and buy it.
Here's the only thing I say to a lot of people who are wondering the differences between 65 and 65A. If you come to me and say, I'm not worried, I'm not interested in smoking joints and all of that. I'm for recreational. I am in it because of the pain itself, and it works for me. then if that's the case, 65A is okay with you.
Sure, absolutely.
Because if it's pain that you're trying to alleviate, 65A will address that pain.
It absolutely will, and will do so in the right way, and it will not put it into the state constitution.
I want to ask you about that when we come back, because as governor and in your years as lieutenant governor and the state auditor and in public service, the things that could go wrong if there are some things within that bill, and there are a multitude of things in that initiative.
2,500 words.
It's
7
unbelievable.
pages, 2,500 words.
You can bitch all you want to your local officials, but they can't do anything. We'll talk about that next. Answering a question on the C Spire text line as far as the campaign of, and we talk about the election. My God, so many things in this election besides
what
the
a
presidency.
3rd of November it's going to be. I've been working on the Trump campaign for, 5 years now, but it seems like this one is more challenging than ever because you just really see, Paul, the media is just unhinged. Even 4 years ago, I think they thought, well, Hillary's going to win, so let's just attack Trump when we can for sort of recreational purposes, attacking Trump. Now it's vitriolic. It is, we want to destroy his family, we want to destroy him, we want to destroy anybody working for him. It's a scorched earth. And it's so disappointing because Mississippi needs a non-biased, a really non-biased news source, and they're so hard to find in the mainstream media.
Well, and he said, talking about Mike Espy, and I said, but, here's the deal. If Mike Espy won, then your vote is going to help him elevate Chuck Schumer.
That's right.
To the
majority leader
in the Senate. And if that happens, if you think about it, the consequences are, beside packing the court, which they've already said they're going to do by not saying that they're not. And the second thing is here, they want to get rid of the Electoral College. And if that's the case, then thank Mr. Espy for neutering the state of Mississippi and all of these other small states.
He could be, Paul, the deciding vote to pack the courts, to give statehood to the D.C. district for 2 more Democratic senators, statehood to Puerto Rico for 2 more Democratic senators. They have to fundamentally change America, and the only way they can do that, people in America don't want to be fundamentally changed the way that Mike Espy and Chuck Schumer and Kamala Harris and Elizabeth Warren said, all of which gave him money. So he took money from Kamala Harris, Chuck Schumer, and Nancy Pelosi. So all those commercials you hear him running about Thad Cochran and Ronald Reagan were paid for by George Soros and Elizabeth Warren and Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer and Kamala Harris. Let's just get that straight. But you're right. He could fundamentally change by packing the court, being the vote that does that, being the vote that gives statehoods to 2 other states, being a vote that fundamentally changes America by putting more liberal judges on the United States Supreme Court and changing America in the courts, not at the ballot box.
Why would we even go vote? Because California, New York, and some of these other states, they're going to decide one way or the other.
Doing away with the Electoral College.
We're going through the motions. But, it all goes back, and all of these emails coming out, we understand now that this woman should be locked up.
For America's future, we have been given an extraordinary blessing. And at this moment in time, we need George Soros, who is fearless and willing to step up when it counts. So please join me in welcoming George Soros.
I feel that I need to stand up and become really engaged in the electoral process in this country.
You got a letter
I did.
And I just found out about this.
It just came yesterday. Paul, I was disturbed because some of the information going out from the Mississippians for Compassionate Care, and that sounds like a wonderful group, and I'm not challenging their realities, but on their envelope they were mailing to everyone, it was saying words like, please join President Trump and us in legalizing marijuana for medical purposes in Mississippi. And so I sent that to the campaign and said, is this factual? And the campaign just sent back to Jamie Grantham, Communications Director for the Mississippians for Compassionate Care, and said, this is a cease and desist letter. It said the President of the United States President Trump has never stated, never means never, even today, his support for passage of Initiative 65 or the legalization of medical marijuana in Mississippi. So cease and desist. putting President Trump's name on any letter or flyers. And Paul, this is so troubling. If I'm going to send out a letter to an unaware public that is struggling, as they should, as we all are, with this amendment, and I'm going to put the president's name on that envelope and say the president of the United States is supporting this amendment to legalize medical marijuana, I think I would have done a little work before doing that, because that is so dishonest and so disingenuous.
I think they knew that.
Well, the cartel that is putting the money together for this has got a lot. If you've got millions and millions of dollars into a referendum, one, to get all the signatures and then to try to get it passed, and you've got all of these out-of-state investors, some of which are going to be very unhappy if this doesn't pass, because I'm sure the investors were assured, oh, don't worry, we can go in and sleight of hand and with smoke and mirrors tell the people of the Mississippi that they need to vote for this. Yeah. They're going to be very disappointed when it does not pass.
I would think in any form of business out there, your small business or bigger business, if you got somebody lying on the resume or something that so-and-so endorsed them or something, then you've lost credibility right there. And all I'm saying, folks, is these are legal drug dealers who are making their own rules, and you're going to pay for it, too. They're taking over $2.5 million out of the rainy day fund as a loan.
And we won't get any money. No money. Let me say this again. No money goes into the schools and roads and parks and housing and local government. You don't get anything.
That's what aggravates the hell out of me, that these people are so passionate about this and don't want to, and it ticks me off that they ought to realize this. I had somebody text me the other day, I can't believe you're doing this. All of the tax money we'll make and all of the jobs it'll create. You folks, you don't have long. You've got to learn about this and understand. You have been governor and lieutenant governor and auditor. You know the consequences of an initiative that means it is written in the Constitution. Your state representative, your state senator, your lieutenant governor, your governor, they cannot do anything about it.
Nobody, not the Board of Supervisors, not the mayor. If you don't want marijuana in your town, there's nothing you can do about it. If you decide that the language in it's not proper and you try to go back and change it, there's nothing you can do about it. You know, the Mississippi Constitution was meant to decide the branches of government, and so it was designed to say, here's what the executive branch looks like, here's what the judiciary looks like, here's what the legislative branch looks like, and here are the offices that will be held by the statewide elected. It's not designed to say, and oh, by the way, you can sell medical marijuana. Yeah. It is just, why would they do that? Think about that. Why would you put it in the constitutions? I'm asking Mississippians just to think about how this took place, how people put millions and millions of dollars from out-of-state sources and in-state sources. You just named a member of the House of Representatives, a very wealthy member of the House of Representatives, a Republican, that has put millions of dollars into this effort. And look, if my heart was in the right place today, they're going to open the new tower, the new Joe Sanderson Tower for the Children's Hospital, the Blair E. Batson Hospital, to take care of the children of this state that are suffering. If I had $2 million, Paul, I'd go down and write them a check today. I'd help build that children's hospital and not worry so much about having pot stores on every corner. And there can be. There's no number limiting the number of pot stores. There's no limitations where they can put them. They can put them within 1,500 feet of a school or a church. They can be. Look, I live in a very rural community down in Copiah County. Someone could walk down there, clear some pine trees out, and put a little pot store right down there on Highway 28. And we just hope that doesn't happen.
Saw the Mississippi Association Chief of Police, the Mississippi Municipal League, and we're starting to get into some other ones, the people that care about the state of Mississippi. We've got the Mississippi Federation of Republican Women's vote to oppose Initiative 65. The police chief says no regulation on locations of these so-called treatment centers. That's that name itself right there is a misnomer. They're not a treatment center.
No.
They're a pot store.
That's right.
Also referred to as pot shops. Through local zoning, only regulation is that they not be located within 500 feet of a pre-existing school, church, or a license. Within 500 feet. That's it. No limit on the number of treatment centers in your town. Certificates are issued by medical doctors of patients with debilitating medical condition, which is broadly defined. Doctor shopping is a widely recognized practice. There are so many of these regulations that when we get in there, we'll say, boy, this is bad. And 2 years of this, we've got a lot of people gathering around here. They're nefarious-looking folks hanging around our community. We want to get rid of them.
And you know what happens?
Teens,
young teens will be waiting outside the door and say, hey, mister, would you buy me some? Kind of what used to happen in a liquor store.
Can you imagine 4 guys in a room in a college, and all 4 of them got, 10 joints a day? That's 40 joints in that one room? There's no age limit on there.
I wonder what their grades will look like. Yeah, there's just no good reason for this, and believe me, 65A will give us an opportunity to do it right.
65A is a smarter way.
A smarter way.
65A is a smarter way. Pass it on. Governor's always good seeing you, sir.
Wonderful, Paul. Thank you so much.
You got it. We have more coming up.